Good morning, traders. How are you all doing today? Karibuni sana. Glad you could all join us this fine Thursday morning, although it is a bit chilly here in Nairobi. I hope everyone is doing well. So I see a number of people streaming in, which is okay. Apologies for starting a few minutes late. This past week, there's been a lot of fundamentals been coming out at 9 a.m. during the Frankfurt Market Open. Today, there was a lot of British pound fundamentals, so we did need to end up adjusting those. So apologies for starting late, but I guess we can jump straight into it. So hello everyone, how are you doing today? My name is Mitch Kaniaru, trader with Afriforex. I want to welcome you to another Afriforex daily analysis session. Now, you do know during these webinars, we as the Forex team will identify what trading opportunities we will be looking at taking for the day, and we do share that information with you. So as usual, not here alone. We do have John in the back office, so we'll be here to assist you with whatever questions or queries you might have. So feel free to ask your questions either in the Q&A section or in the chat box. But remember, it's much better to ask those questions on the Q&A section since I will be addressing all of them at the end of the webinar. So let's jump straight into it since we do need to move a bit quickly so that we can be able to be done by 10 o'clock at least before the London market does open. So here's our watch list. So as usual, this is what we start off with. Now, there's been a big difference between what we're looking at yesterday and what we're looking at today. You can see yesterday, our focus was buying opportunities on the Australian dollar, the Swiss franc, as well as the euro. We were looking to mix and match them with all the other pairs on the sell side. So that was the US dollar, the yen, the Canadian dollar, the New Zealand dollar, as well as the British pound. Now, you can see today, we will still be looking for buying opportunities on the Australian dollar, Swiss franc, and the euro. However, the US dollar and the Japanese yen have both moved to the buy side. So our focus today will be on these sell pairs. So the Canadian dollar, the New Zealand dollar, and the British pound. And we're going to mix these three pairs with all these pairs on the buy side. So let's first look at the pairs that we did have yesterday that we're not going to be focusing on today. So we'll start off here with the Australian dollar against the US dollar. Now, yesterday, our bias was to look for buying opportunities. You can see the three areas that I had pointed out. Now, the main thing that we wanted to see was either a breach to the upside, or we knew that there was a chance that since we're within a seller's area, we could end up getting this price coming down lower. Now, you can see that's exactly what happened during 3 as well as 4:30. Nothing much really happened, and this is something to do with all the Australian dollar pairs. We'll end up having a look at them. We're meant to have been looking for buying opportunities on the Australian dollar pairs, but they all ended up giving us a pullback. But today morning, since there was some Australian dollar fundamentals, you can see this market never was able to actually break this same low, and the price was able to go to the upside. However, this is a pair that could potentially give us issues based on the fact that there is the US dollar there as well. So that's the reason why this pair is going to be off our watch list. Now, similar correlation with the Australian dollar against the yen. Here, our bias was to look for buying opportunities. You can see during the London market open at 10, we're within an area where the sellers, we needed a pullback, and that pullback came in throughout the London session. Although not necessarily got all the way to the bottom area. You can see at 3, the price did come back within this small bias area, attempt to go to the upside, but at 4:30, that's when the price ended up coming down. We do know the Australian dollar pairs were giving us more of a pullback yesterday, but you can see today, the price did manage to come to this same area, giving us some sort of probe, and the price did manage to go to the upside. Remember, we also talked about this being a range. The best place to look for your buys is at the bottom of the range. You can see that's exactly what it did. But unfortunately, the US big boys weren't so interested in taking this pair yesterday. So similar situation, this is a pair that's going to be off our watch list for today. So moving on to the next pair for review, we did have the US dollar against the Swiss franc. Now remember on this pair, our bias here was to look for selling opportunities. Now the price did manage to start coming down lower. Remember, I pointed out that there was some sellers area here where it did seem to be testing or holding from. And you can see that's exactly where the market actually started coming to the downside. Now, remember, we did want to see the price come down and actually hold below. But you can see as it came to the downside at 3, we're hoping to see that the price was actually going to hold below this area. But the fact that it came straight back in, regardless of whether or not it came back to this area and attempted to come down, we can clearly see this price does still seem to be holding, especially if you go to the 1-hour time frame. You can clearly see this was just a huge probe. The price came back, test, and is holding above this area. So unfortunately, the US dollar and the Swiss franc are both on the same side of our watch list today. So we might end up finding this market continuing to range, because you can see on the much bigger time frame, we do seem to be in a much bigger range, bouncing between these two levels. So we might see the price ending up playing around within those areas. So that's the reason why today is a pair that's going to be off our watch list. Now, moving on to the next pair for review, we did have the Swiss franc against the Japanese yen. Similar situation, our bias here was to look for buying opportunities. And you can see at 10 o'clock, the price was already on its way to the upside. It didn't manage to look as if it was breaking this area to the upside. But remember what we said, when the pullback comes in, we want to see the price actually holding above. But you can clearly see that's not what had ended up happening. The price came back in and actually held below and actually attempted to try and start coming down lower. Fortunately, this pair did not necessarily give us much options yesterday, because you can see once the price came back in, you can clearly see it's still holding within this particular area. So unfortunately, no real trading opportunity, but it did end up giving us yesterday. And the fact that today, both of them on the same side of our watch list, these are pair that's going to be off our watch list for today. Now, moving on to the next pair, we did have the euro against the US dollar. Now, the euro pairs really did work out quite well for us yesterday. You can see we're looking for buying opportunities. And at 10 o'clock, where the price was, it just managed to break this area to the upside and was holding. Now, it did not necessarily give us the biggest pullback, but remember, that's why we always say you end up being able to go down to a smaller time frame, potentially within one of the market opening times. So you can see this level kept on holding to the downside. But once the price broke this area to the upside and it was holding above at exactly 10 o'clock, then you can clearly see that's when the price did really continue going to the upside. So there was a nice trading opportunity there during the London session. Unfortunately, during the US session, remember, we did have some fundamentals yesterday, some CPI news that did end up giving us some volatility. You can clearly see these weeks that did end up happening. And that's the reason why we're also going to be looking for US dollar strength today. Sorry, US dollar, yes, strength today. So that's the reason why today is a pair that's going to be off our watch list. Even though it might still continue going up because of the euro strength, it could end up giving us issues. So moving on to the next euro pair we did have, or at least the last pair that we did have that we're not going to be looking at, is the euro against the Japanese yen. Similar situation, you can see the strength of the euro managing to break this area to the upside by 10. Now, we wanted to see a pullback coming in towards the support and resistance area. We did not do that during the London session. You can see it was based on once that news event came in. You can clearly see at 3:30, that's when the fundamentals came out. The price just spiked this same area before attempting to go up. But at least you can also see it attempted to do the same thing again later on. But the fact that the price is holding above, that could have given you confirmation to look for your buys. But you can clearly see not necessarily targeting too higher than where the price has actually got to, because you could end up finding some issues. So for these conservative entries, and the fact that both the euro and the Japanese yen are both on the same side, you might find this price actually just ranging today. So that's the reason why we're not going to be focusing on this kind of pair. So that's it for the pairs for review. So before we do jump onto today's pairs, we'll end up having a look at a number of screenshots that we didn't manage to get. So at least yesterday we did get quite a few. So here we'll start off with Beatrice. Beatrice, you did manage to grab a very nice selling opportunity on gold. I know we're looking for buys, but the fact that price was within an area where the sellers, and it was there during the US market open, we did end up seeing that pullback really coming in, but very good trade right here. Good placement of your stop loss. In fact, with this situation, the fact that the market has continued coming down lower, you can be able to move your stop loss, even possibly where you have this right support resistance area. However, very, very well done in this trade, Beatrice. I'm seeing the improvement there. Keep up the great work that you're doing. So also next we did get Bravin. Bravin, obviously, you'll be looking for trading silver. You did manage to grab a selling opportunity on silver. I think this was after the market actually broke one of the levels to actually continue coming down. We did mention that we wanted to look for buying opportunities yesterday, but we were within areas where the sellers. So you did see you took the counter trade. Price coming down in your favor, your stop loss is already below your entry. So very, very good job on this trade, Bravin. Do end up hoping you manage your trade within here. We'll end up having a look at silver. And right now, I do know I think silver is around up within these prices, but we'll end up having a look at it. But that just ends up giving us more opportunities for trades. But very good job on that trade, Bravin. So next, we also did get Caroline Miniki. These are your first screenshots, so very happy to see them here. So you did manage to grab a buying opportunity on the Australian dollar against the US dollar. Now, the thing is, you did mention that this trade did not work and you closed it early before it ended up hitting a stop loss. So it's a good thing about you managing your losses well. Now, the main thing that we also point out is always wait for, if you're looking for buys, don't chase the market, right? Most people end up waiting for confirmation before you end up knowing that the price is either going to go up or down. But remember, when the price was coming all the way down within here, everyone was thinking sell. So by the time when the price was now going up, you didn't think that it was a buy until it was up here. Now you jumping in on a buy when it's already, all those buyers who are buying down here are possibly looking to exit within their trade. So that's why we always say, if you're looking for buys, wait for the price to be coming down for you to look for your buys. If you're looking for sells, the fact that the price was going up that's where you could end up looking for sell. So in this situation, you did end up looking not necessarily for a buy with a buyer's area. You can see the fact that this is an area where buyers have reacted, the buyers could react on that area. Chances are this is an area where sellers have reacted from before and they did end up reacting again. So you have a high likelihood of increasing your probability of your trades working out if you try and stick with, are you buying within a buyer's area or are you selling within a seller's area? But still, very good job on this trade. Your stop loss was within a good place, ideally, because you don't necessarily know the price was ended up, or at least not able to go up higher than here. This is a good placement of the stop loss, but still very well done on this trade, Caroline. But you did also manage to grab a buying opportunity on the euro against the US dollar. This one was a very much better buy. You can see this is an area where buyers have reacted from before multiple times, right? So the fact that's the case, you can end up pointing out here. You can see this area, buyers have reacted from before, buyers have reacted from there before. Even though the price came down, it came back in, but it's still just a probe, meaning there's a high likelihood of buyers reacting from there again. And you can see it does end up increasing your probability of your trade working out. But I know this trade, we did end up mentioning it hit your take profit, so very, very good job. But by the time that the price is all the way within here and getting close to your take profit, don't necessarily think that the trade is already working out. We've seen many times, or at least we've experienced, where the price gets towards so close towards your take profit, you even seeing it flashing green, you even turn off your laptop saying that trade is already done. Next thing you come back, you find the price all the way down. So in these situations, always make sure that you are managing your trade. So the fact that your stop loss is still here, by this time, at least moving it towards your entry point, you make sure that that trade is risk-free. So if you do need to end up jumping in on another trade, you do have that option there. But still, very, very well done in these trades. Caroline, keep up the good work, and thank you so much for sending in your screenshots. So also next, we did get Mark Mori, did manage to grab a very nice buying opportunity here on the US 30. We did end up waiting for the price to break and hold above, and I do know you did end up taking this trade based on once the fundamentals did come out and during the US session. So very well done on this. Can see your stop loss is already way above your entry. So I do know you did make some good money on this trade, Mark. So very well done on this. So that's it for all the screenshots. So thank you guys so much for all of you who did manage to send them into us. Remember, if you do manage to take any setups based on things that we do share, feel free to send them into us. You know, there should be a link right there in the chat box. So let's jump straight into today's pairs. So we'll start off with the Canadian dollar pairs, mix and match them with the pairs on the buy side, do the same thing with the New Zealand dollar, then the British pound, before we do have a look at the indices, including gold and silver. So we'll start off with the Australian dollar against the Canadian dollar. Now, on this kind of pair, yesterday, our bias was to look for buying opportunities, and you will notice the same correlation coming in with all these Australian dollar pairs. During the London market, we were up within a seller's area, so no buying opportunities for us. The prices did end up attempting to come down, and I think around 3 o'clock, once the fundamentals were coming out, you can see there was a small push from the buyers right here going all the way up. But that news event could have actually ended up stopping a lot of people out. So that one would have been a bit difficult to get. You can see the price looked as if it had broken this area to the downside. But today, can clearly see the price has really come back in, a lot of Australian dollar strength that's come in. So overall, we're still going to be looking for buys and pretty much focus on the same areas. You can see the fact that this is a probe area. There's a high probability that the market can still pull back towards the same support and resistance area. So we wait to see if we can end up getting this market coming down lower, potentially coming back within here, holding above, and we could end up finding a nice buying opportunity. Right now, if the price holds above here, there is potential for the price to continue going up. But after such a huge move, and everyone is jumping in on their buys. Remember, as I spoke about Caroline's trade, you don't necessarily want to start jumping in on your buying opportunities high up within this area. What we want to do is wait for the pullback to come in. Once more people are thinking that it's a sell, then we can end up looking for a buying opportunity. But overall, we'll pretty much be focusing on the same areas and waiting to see if we can grab that buying opportunity within that red support and resistance area. So hope that's clear. The Australian dollar against the Canadian dollar. So moving on to the next Canadian dollar pair. So here on the Canadian dollar against the Swiss franc, yesterday our bias was to look for selling opportunities. Remember, we did want this price to actually break this area to the downside and hold below. At 10 o'clock, it did end up attempting to do that, but it actually ended up holding within this buyer's area before the buyers actually ended up pushing up during the US session. But remember, overall, when we were looking at this based on a much higher time frame, we still look as if we have done some sort of struggle, at least with the buyers and sellers right here. The buyers don't necessarily look as aggressive in comparison. The fact that we did get a probe within this particular location, that's the reason why we have this blue support and resistance area. So the selling opportunities could still end up working out, or at least we'll pretty much have the same areas. So if I go down to the 15-minute, we pretty much have the exact same areas that we did have yesterday. So the aggressive sellers, aggressive sellers right here at the top, and we do have some buyers right here in the middle. Now, this area, the blue support and resistance area, the price could still end up reacting from there. But we do know if we are able to get the price breaching and holding below this yellow support and resistance area, we should be able to go to, at least we should be good to go to continue with those selling opportunities, potentially targeting the next support and resistance area. I know this is a bit far, but based on the overall movement that this market has been doing, I think this is also based on the higher time frame, the 4-hour time frame. You can see the price had been coming down. There is a pullback, and the pullback has come back towards the support resistance area. So there's a possibility if we do manage to see that price coming down lower, we might actually start seeing the market coming down, but we need to watch out for these problem areas. You can see the buyers who is on the way to the upside who are pushing it up. So those are definitely problem areas before the market is even able to come all the way down here. But this being a more of a swing trade, that might end up taking 1, maybe 2 weeks or so. So for now, at least for today, we'll be waiting to see if we can end up working or looking for these selling opportunities based on these areas that we're looking at today. So hope that's clear, the Canadian dollar against the Swiss franc. So moving on to the next Canadian dollar pair. Here we have the euro against the Canadian dollar. You can see that strength that came in with the euro pairs. Market managed to break to the upside at 10 o'clock. It was holding above. And you can see the price did manage to continue going up. But during the US session, nothing much happened. There was a lot of volatility, but no real movement at that time. So overall today, the buyers here is still going to be looking for buying opportunities. So we'll focus on these 3 areas. So aggressive buyers all the way down here. So as long as we're holding above that red support resistance area, our buyers is to look for buying opportunities. Right now, we've approached a very nice support resistance area. Let's hope to see if we can end up getting some aggressive buyers showing up. And if we do see the market, maybe like some buyers coming in, we see the sellers at least coming down, showing that they're really slowing down, we could end up finding a nice buying opportunity coming in for us on the euro against the Canadian dollar. So that one's pretty clear cut. Let's wait to see what ends up happening. So let's move on to the next Canadian dollar pair. So just give me 1 second here. So just to do something. Apologies for that. Some small technical difficulties, but yes, back again. Now here we have the US dollar against the Canadian dollar. So this is a brand new entry on our watch list. And here our bias is to look for buying opportunities. You can see the market has been coming down, but the buyers did end up showing up yesterday based on those fundamentals that did come out, the CPIs. So right now, we're within an area where there's sellers, but the sellers don't necessarily look as strong as they did the first time, which is a good sign for us. But that still means we still want to end up getting the price potentially giving us a pullback, maybe coming back within this area, and we could end up seeing a buying opportunity there. Now, if we do find a buy, make sure to manage your trade within this area. If we're able to get this price breaking and holding above, then we should be able to continue looking for buying opportunities on this, being able to target this next particular high. But remember, if the price keeps on coming down, breaks and holds below this area, ideally this pair will fall off our watch list. So this one will be very interesting to see. We'll possibly end up setting an alert within this area. So when the price approaches there, could end up potentially finding how the market reacts. And if it's there within one of these market opening times, could find some nice buying opportunities available for us. So hope that's clear on the US dollar against the Canadian dollar. So moving on to the last Canadian dollar pair we do have. It's a brand new entry in our watch list. And here we have the Canadian dollar against the Japanese yen. So here our bias is going to be looking for selling opportunities. So we will be focusing on these 3 areas for these potential sells. So the aggressive sellers right there at the top, that's exactly where we are. But now this market also, looking at the structure, does seem to be in a range. The fact that we're within a seller's area, this would be a very good place to actually be able to look for our selling opportunities. So if we do see something of the sort, at least we get the price actually holding below, we should be able to look for selling opportunities, making sure to manage our trade within this area. But if we are able to get the price breaking and holding below, remember we need the hold below to confirm. You can clearly see situations where the market looked as if it attempted to break that area. But when the price came back, the fact that it did not use this as a support and resistance area, this ended up just being a probe and this level kept on holding. So in this situation, let's wait to see if we can get the price breaching and holding below for us to continue looking for selling opportunities on the Canadian dollar against the Japanese yen. But I know this one is also based on a much larger time frame. You can see based on the move to the downside, this seems to be the pullback, and the buyers do seem to be slowing down. So those of you who have done the AMP class as well as the master class will be able to understand where there could be a nice selling opportunity there. But for now, we'll wait to see what ends up happening. Remember, buy with buyers and sell with sellers. So moving on, so I guess that's it for all the Canadian dollar pairs. As you can see, we're mixed and matching with all the pairs on the buy side. So right now, we're going to do the same thing with the New Zealand dollar pairs. So we'll start off with the New Zealand dollar, Australian dollar against the New Zealand dollar. Now, this current pair, yesterday, our bias was to look for buying opportunities. You can see the three areas that we had pointed out. So aggressive buyers right here all the way down to the bottom. You can see the price was within this area where the sellers during the London market opened. So no buying opportunity for us just yet, unless we did get the price breaking to the upside. You can see the pullback managed to come down low, managed to get towards this particular support resistance area right here. But you can clearly see the buyers attempted to come up during the US market open when the fundamentals actually did come out. But you can see the price did decide to come down a bit lower. Remember, the Australian dollar pairs really did give a lot of a pullback. Now, during the Asian session today, you can see the price still came back to that exact same area that we had pointed out, to the aggressive buyers area. And you can see that's exactly where the market did end up reacting. So in this situation today, our bias here is still going to be looking for buying opportunities. We pretty much have the same areas. The fact that the price has actually broken above this particular area, this one does look pretty good for a buy, but we'll be waiting to see if we can end up grabbing a buying opportunity within this particular area. We do see that we could be able to find a very nice buying opportunity. And definitely if it lines up within one of the market opening times. But remember, if the price is able to just break and hold above this yellow support resistance area to the upside, we should be able to continue looking for buying opportunities on the Australian dollar against the New Zealand dollar. But this one looks pretty good. As you can see, I've set an alert down here. So at least when the price gets there, we could end up finding a nice buying opportunity available. So moving on to the next New Zealand dollar pair we do have the New Zealand dollar against the Swiss franc. Now on this pair, our bias yesterday was to look for selling opportunities. But I guess after the huge move to the downside, nothing much really happened. You can see at 10 o'clock, the price did end up attempting to try and come down lower, could not necessarily come down. And you can see the price just ranged between these two levels. So there was no real opportunity for us here. But overall, today, the bias is still going to be for us to look for selling opportunities. We'll be focusing on these three areas. Aggressive sellers right there at the top. And we do also have this particular level. We will still be focusing on the same areas. Ideally, we need to see some big boys interested, and we need more of a pullback to come in. So potentially, if we can end up getting this pullback, similar story to what we're looking at yesterday, the price is able to hold below that area, we should be able to find some selling opportunities available for us on the New Zealand dollar against the Swiss franc. So hope that's clear on the New Zealand dollar against Swiss franc. So moving on to the next New Zealand dollar pair, we do have the euro against the New Zealand dollar. Now, yesterday, our bias was to look for buying opportunities. Similar story with what we mentioned, the euro pairs did work out. Maybe not necessarily as far in comparison to the other euro pairs, but this one still did work. 10 o'clock, price looked as if it attempted to break this area to the upside. Couldn't really hold since it came back in. But the fact is the price came back up and actually held above. And at 3 o'clock, it did end up giving us a buying opportunity to the upside. Even though during the fundamentals, we did end up getting a pullback, but you can clearly see this level kept on holding to the upside and did end up giving us a buy right there. So overall, today, the bias here is still going to be looking for buying opportunities on this pair. Pretty much have these levels right here. So we've adjusted them slightly. So aggressive buyers area down all the way to the bottom. We do have some buyers area over here. And we do have the main sellers right here at the top. So right now, the main thing we obviously want to see is a pullback coming in, potentially within one of these particular support resistance areas, for us to actually end up looking for buying opportunities. So we're very interested to see how these sellers come in and slow down, and whether or not we'll actually be able to see some aggressive buyers coming in for us to look for the buys right here. So we'll wait to see what ends up happening, but this one pretty clear cut on the pullback. Let's wait to see how it reacts within this first area. If nothing happens within this location, we'll look to see if we can look for those buying opportunities lower down within this aggressive area. So hope that's clear on the euro against the New Zealand dollar. Moving on to the next New Zealand dollar pair we do have the New Zealand dollar against the US dollar. Now in this kind of pair, our bias here is to look for selling opportunities. This is a brand new entry in our watch list. So we will be focusing on these three areas to potentially find ourselves. Now, the fact that the price is coming up, which is a good thing for us, we just want to know at what point in time will these buyers actually die out for us to look for those sells. So obviously, the best place to look for the sell would be right there at the top, because at least there, they're big sellers and they could end up reacting again. But for now, let's wait to see where the pullback gets to. You could easily find that the market looks as if it's breaking this area to the upside, and you find the market actually giving a huge probe where sellers show up. And if the price holds below, we could find a selling opportunity there. But if the price continues going up higher, let's wait to see as it approaches these areas right here. And remember, take note of the market opening times. That's 10, 3, and 4:30. Could find that if it is within one of these sellers areas, might not necessarily be all the way at the top. Could find that the price is also within here. Can't see this is an area where sellers have reacted from before. They could potentially end up reacting again as well. So hope that's clear on the New Zealand dollar against the US dollar. So as we move on to the last New Zealand dollar pair we do have, this is the New Zealand dollar against the Japanese yen. So overall here, our bias, the brand entering our watch list, is to look for selling opportunities. So we have identified these 3 areas of interest where the sales could potentially work out from. So right now where we are is also an area of interest, but what we want to see, because you can see after this market really did come down very aggressive, these big boy sellers are not yet interested in selling, or at least they don't want to sell at such a low price. They were interested in selling at this high price. So remember, there's a possibility, and we've seen this many times on the charts, that price could actually end up coming back within this particular area before we do end up actually seeing the price coming down lower. So we'll be very interested to see how the market reacts within here. But the fact that right now we're within an area where the sellers, we want to see how the London big boys react. Because if we do see aggressive sellers coming in and we do end up getting a pullback, then we could end up looking for a nice sell as well within this particular area, making sure to manage our trade within this buyer's area at the bottom. So hope that's clear on the New Zealand dollar against the yen and all the New Zealand dollar pairs. As you can see, we've mixed and matched them with all the pairs on the buy side. So right now we're going to do the same thing with the British pound pairs. So right now we'll start off with the British pound against the Australian dollar. Now here you can see the same correlation coming in with all the Australian dollar pairs. Yesterday, the price did come down very aggressive at 10 o'clock. We're within a buyer's area. Wanted to see a pullback coming in within this particular area. We did see the price looking as if it was potentially struggling, but once it broke to the upside, wanted to see how this next area would react. But at 3 o'clock, the price did end up coming down, coming back to all the way to this main support and resistance area that we did have. It did end up confirming that the price had actually broken this area to the upside. And once it broke the red support and resistance area, it did fall off our watch list. Now, that time, it did end up falling off, but you can see today, the price has really come back in aggressive. Similar correlation with all these Australian dollar pairs. They've done pretty much the exact same thing. So overall today, buyers is still going to be looking for sells. You can see this is just a huge probe, especially when you do go to a higher time frame, you will be able to realize. Let's quickly go to, let's say, the 1 hour or the 4-hour time frame. You can see this market has just been ranging between these levels, and this is just a huge probe where the price has come back in. And when probes end up happening, it has a high likelihood of pulling back to these support and resistance areas before we are able to see the price actually coming down. So the fact that the price is coming up here within this area nicely, let's see at 10 o'clock whether or not we can actually end up getting the price coming down lower. And if we did end up getting the price breaching and holding below this area, we should be able to continue looking for sells. But be aware, if the price breaks and holds above this red support and resistance area, this pair will fall off our watch list. Now, moving on to the next British pound pair, we do have the British pound against the Swiss franc. Now, yesterday, our bias was to look for selling opportunities, and you can see the 3 areas that we had pointed out. Now, during the London market open at 10, price was just in the middle of this particular area. We did not want to jump in on any selling opportunities. We needed either a breach the downside or even potentially a pullback, since we had just broken this support and resistance area right here. Now, the price did end up coming down lower, couldn't necessarily break this area to the downside. The pullback came in later on during the US session. So you can see around 3 and 4:30 there. The price managed to actually attempt to come down lower, but could not actually break this area to the downside. Now, the fact that the price is back up, it seems that these sellers, or at least it's back within the main sellers area, which is a good sign for us. Because remember, we definitely want to look for selling opportunities from this, as long as the price is holding below this red support and resistance area. So the fact that we're back within an area where the sellers will be very interested to see how the market ends up reacting. Follow the story of the buyers. They do seem like the buyers who are pushing to the upside here. So if we do see some aggressive sellers coming in, right, where we find the sellers come in aggressive and the buyers do end up possibly even giving us a probe and struggling within there, we could potentially end up seeing the price coming down more. If we're able to break that area to the downside, you might find a small pullback right there to allow you to be able to come down lower with it. So that's ideally what I will be looking for. But remember, if the price breaks and holds above the red SNR, this pair will fall off our watches. Now, moving on to the next British pound pair, we do have the euro against the British pound. This pair really did take off yesterday. You can see at Frankfurt market open, the price managed to go to the upside. At 10 o'clock, when we were having this session, the price looked as if it had just broken this area to the upside. We wanted a pullback. And the pullback did come in nicely at 10 o'clock. This possibly ended up being able to be read on a much smaller time frame, and the price managed to continue going up during the London session. But you can see at 3 o'clock, once the US market came in, not much activity has come in, but right now we are definitely getting a pullback. So overall, this looks quite good for a buy. So overall, we'll still be looking for these buying opportunities based on these three areas. So we have the main sellers area at the top, which has given us issues and started the pullback. So right now, the fact that we're close to this buyer's area, let's wait to see whether or not we'll find a sign that the buyers are coming back. Remember, the market never just goes down and up. If you'd hardly find that's the case, there's always a story behind it. So let's wait to see as these sellers are slowing down. We do see some signs of the big boy buyers coming in, especially if you see some sort of probes end up working out very nicely for us. So that's something that we'd always encourage guys to end up looking at, or at least doing even their research on that. But we'll be waiting to see if we can grab these buying opportunities based on this area. This level doesn't hold. Be aware the price can still come back down all the way down towards this area. I think this is based on a much higher time frame. Can see after the market did go to the upside, there are these major support resistance areas, but the fact that the price broke this level, hasn't tested it yet, it could still pull back there before it actually goes to the upside. So that's the reason why we'll be watching out to see how the market ends up reacting within these areas of interest. So hope that's clear. As we move on to the next British pound pair we do have is the British pound against the US dollar. This is a brand new entry on our watch list. And overall here, we're definitely going to be looking for selling opportunities. So we'll be focusing on these three areas of interest for ourselves. So right now, we do seem as if we're breaking this area to the upside and holding above. That's okay. Because remember, we want to end up starting to see and grab our selling opportunities from as high as possible. So if we do end up grabbing ourselves there, we can be able to manage our trade within this first problem area. And if you do notice, we could potentially be entering into some sort of range. So if that's the case, definitely the best place to look for yourself is right here at the top. Remember, when the market ranges, it probes a lot. That's why you might easily even find the price going all the way up to there. But if it comes back and holds below, then you could definitely end up finding a nice selling opportunity. Make sure you manage your trade between this buyer's area. So this one is pretty clear cut. Ideally in a range, look for the sells at the top. And there's the prices right now in the middle. There's nothing much for us to do right now. So last but not least, we do have the British pound against the Japanese yen, brand new entry on our watch list. And overall, our bias here is to look for selling opportunities. I've identified these three areas of interest that the sells could potentially work out from. So we have the aggressive sellers right there at the top. We have an area right here, because if you notice the market structure, we do seem to be bouncing between two levels. Similar situation, we're in a range right here. And since we are ranging, obviously the best place to look for ourselves is at the top of the range. Not necessarily just jumping in blindly. Remember, watch out for the market opening times. We could find some nice selling opportunities here. But right now, the big boys, since they haven't shown up yet, not necessarily too sure. But if we do find the price breaking and holding above this area, this pair will fall off our watch list. But if we do manage to get the price coming down lower, do make sure you manage your trade within this first problem area. You can get the price breaking and holding below this particular support and resistance area in the middle, then you should be able to continue looking for yourselves. Make sure to manage your trade within this buyer's area. Remember, that's just more on the short term, but remember on the longer term, this has been a move to the downside, and this does seem to be a pullback where the buyers do seem to be struggling. But remember, that doesn't just mean that it's time for ourselves since the buyers are struggling. We want to see signs of the big boy sellers actually coming in. So if you don't see that yet, you could easily even find this price actually continuing to break this area to the upside and continue going up. That's why we always say we need to see a sign that the sellers are actually interested in order for us to also show interest there. So hope that's clear on all the currency pairs. As you can see, we've mixed and matched the Canadian dollar, the New Zealand dollar, and the British pound with all the pairs on the buy side. So right now we can end up looking at the indices before we do have a look at gold and silver. So starting off with the NAS 100, yesterday our bias here was to look for buying opportunities. Still is today, but remember the price was within an area where the sellers, when we were having this discussion yesterday, now the price kept on holding within the sellers area, and at 3 o'clock, the price actually ended up coming down lower quite aggressively. Managed to still get all the way to our buyers here, but this is around 530 or so. So this one would have been a bit difficult to get, but you can see the price still pulls back to these buyers areas before it ended up reacting. Now, only today morning, then see yesterday it attempted to break this area to the upside, never broke, but today morning, that's when it actually ended up breaking this area to the upside. So overall here, our bias is going to be looking for buying opportunities. So we focus on these three areas. So aggressive buys all the way down to the bottom. We have this support and resistance area that has just been reached. So if we do end up getting this pullback coming in, we could potentially end up finding a nice buying opportunity, making sure to manage our trade all the way at the top right there. So I think this one is pretty clear cut. Ideally within trends, as the market breaks a support and resistance area, we always wait for those pullbacks to be able to look for those buying opportunities. So hope that's clear on the NAS 100. So moving on to the US 30. So on the US 30, yesterday our bias was to look for buying opportunities. This bias did work out quite well. You can clearly see the areas that we had pointed out. Now, the price was holding similar situation with the NAS 100 during this particular seller's area, but that was happening during the London session. But remember, the Dow Jones and the NAS 100, they don't necessarily move as much during the London session as in comparison to the US session. So this price was just holding within this particular area. At 3 o'clock, we're holding below, so no trading opportunity just yet. But once we managed to break the area to the upside, you can see that happened at exactly 430. And the price was actually holding above. This did give us a nice buying opportunity to be able to take this price to the upside. I think this was the trademark we did manage to get. So very well done. So you can clearly see the price did continue going up higher. So today, buyers is still going to be looking for buying opportunities, but based on where we are, we're within an area where the sellers, so no buying opportunity for us. We either need a pullback to come in. So what we want to either see is this pullback coming in, potentially within this support resistance area, before we're able to see a buying opportunity available, or similar story to what happened yesterday. If we do end up getting the price breaking this area to the upside and holding above, we could end up finding a nice buying opportunity available for us as well on the Dow Jones. So hope that's clear on this pair as we move on to silver. Now, silver, fan favorite of many people. Apologies. Now, yesterday, our bias was to look for buying opportunities. You can see the three areas that we had pointed out. Remember, we always point out the market opening times and whether or not you're at a buyer's or seller's area. So you can see the price during the London market open or within the seller's area, no buying opportunity for us. The price was still holding within this area at 3 and also at 430. So it was a bit difficult to look for buying opportunities within a seller's area. And you can see the sellers are the ones who did end up managing to react, coming all the way down to the bottom area where we did have the main buyers who are pushing to the upside. But remember, in order for the buy to continue, we need to incite people to look for sells. And you can see that's exactly what happened. I think this is the trade Bravino did manage to grab. Once the price breached and held below, we did grab a selling opportunity. I hope you managed your trade within the buyer's area. And you can see the fact that the price did end up bouncing off this buyer's location and being able to go all the way up, as you can clearly see right now. So overall, we're still going to be looking for buying opportunities on this. Just because the price comes down, this is what we mean by incitement of people to look for trading opportunities. So right now, all those late buyers, so if you don't try and buy right now, you're buying within an area where the sellers and all these buyers, if they want to get out of their buys, they need to close their trades. And closing their trades is a sell. And who do they sell to? Real people, or at least the late traders who are looking to end up actually buying at such a high price. So let's wait to see what happens here. Let's, if we get the price breaching and holding above, we should be able to continue going to the upside. But remember, if we could even potentially be in some sort of range, so if we do see the price coming down lower, do watch out for these particular buyers areas for us to continue looking for the buy. So hope that's clear on gold, on silver. So if we move on to gold, pretty similar story, but this one hasn't gone as high. But overall, yesterday, our bias was to look for buying opportunities. The price during the London market open was just in the middle of this particular area, but at 3 during the US market open, can't see even the price ended up giving us a probe, holding below, and the price ended up coming down during the US market open. So you can even see once it came down lower, it reached and held below this area, but that confirmed that that level was broken. But you can see we did come back all the way to the buyers area, and the buyers are right now attempting to push to the upside. So overall, buyers here is still going to be looking for buying opportunities on gold. So we pretty much have the exact same areas, But these are areas that you do need to watch out for. Now, those of you who have done our courses, the intermediate, the one-on-one mentorship, will be able to identify some nice story that's happening here, where the prices are coming down. Even though we're still within a buyer's market, do watch out for these problem areas. Now, if we can get the price breaching and holding above, we should be able to continue looking for the buys. But remember, the fact that the way the sellers came down, you compare how the buyers are coming up, these buyers don't necessarily look as strong. So if you do find the price breaking and holding below the red support resistance area, definitely we will be looking for selling opportunities on gold as well as silver. So both of them do look something similar. So if you do get the price breaching and holding below the red support resistance area, we will definitely be looking for selling opportunities at that point in time. So hope that's clear for all the current pairs, including gold, silver, and the NAS 100. So can be able to address some questions on the Q&A section if there are any. So I'm not seeing any. I'm seeing Alan Ronald saying thanks a lot, Mitch. Karibu sana, Alan. Glad that you're here as well. I'm glad that you could always join us during these sessions. So seeing that's pretty much it. But remember, we do have a few minutes at least to be able to jump on to the London market open. There are some fundamentals that have been coming out. I know there's some Swiss franc fundamentals. No change really, because you can see the previous number was 0. There's still number is 0, so not much change. However, we will end up letting you guys know if there are going to be any changes on the Telegram channel. Feel free to join us there. This is a free Telegram channel. There should be a link in the chat box for all of them. So now Robert Morioki asking me to crash course your pair selection project. Thanks a lot. Well, remember, we need to see something actually moving in order for us to actually end up taking those, or at least looking to see if a trade is there. Similar situation, was it yesterday or the day before? The fact that the British pound pairs, in fact, let's even a good example here is the Australian dollar pairs. Looking at this strength, we know we want to buy the Australian dollar. The Australian dollar pairs are showing a lot of correlation. Looking at that strength there, look at the Australian dollar against the New Zealand dollar. There's a lot of strength there. Looking at the British pound against the Australian dollar, a lot of strength there. And the pullback is coming in shallow. So you know the big boys are definitely interested in buying the Australian dollar. So now the question is, are the big boys during the London market going to be also interested? So if you wait to see, there's actually going to be movement there at that point in time within those areas of interest. So that's the reason why we always set these alerts. You see that there, then you know that's the pair that I'm actually going to be looking at. So I'd possibly be focusing a bit on the Australian dollar pairs, seeing how these pullbacks are coming in. When I see a sign of the big sellers actually coming back, then I'll potentially end up looking for those trading opportunities. If I don't see anything at 10, then I'll end up waiting for 3 o'clock, because you might find that this pullback continues coming up. So you find throughout the London session, the market is just doing this, playing around. Then now during the US session, price is there. Then that's when now I'll end up being able to know that there's a potential sell there. But it depends on now what pair is actually moving. So that's the reason why we also look at fundamentals to see what pair can we see some big movement out of. We do see something there, then now it depends on what you can end up matching it with or relying on. Maybe similar situation also like the Euro. The Euro pairs are also showing a lot of strength. Let's wait for these pullbacks to come in to potentially see. So you can be able to identify where the big boys are, right? So at least that's how we end up being able to use, or at least a small crash course on pair selection. Makes it a bit easier, because remember, we're looking at this, not all the pairs work. Even you guys know that every time you come here, not all the pairs are actually going to work exactly. But the main thing we're looking at is this is a potential bias for all these big boys. So the main thing we're looking at is within buyers areas and sellers areas, what are they going to do? Like you see, yesterday we had the Australian dollar for a buy. However, all these Australian dollar pairs, you can see they all ended up coming down, right? They gave the pullback. So they needed to incite all those people to look for sales before now the buys actually end up coming in, right? So it's something similar. So at least right now that we know the big boys are there, let's wait to see and end up getting those pullbacks before we can continue. So I hope that's idea you, Robert. But remember, we do have a lot of courses here, and also we do have the AMP as well. So feel free to sign up for that. There should be a link in the chat box, or you can be able to go to our website. We do have the Amplified program. This, at least, we'll be sitting with you each and every day, looking for opportunities, showing you in terms of pair selection that will no longer be an issue whatsoever, because it goes much deeper. It's not just that one thing. There are many other tools we also end up using. So you can be able to join us. Just sign up. It's free to sign up right now. At least you can be able to sign up for it. Then you can set what date that you're looking at, whether August or September. Then we'll give you a call. Then we can end up talking at least about that. So hope that is okay. So I guess that's it for me and from us. I want to thank you guys so much for joining me today. Really do appreciate it. Hope you guys have found value in these sessions. And I hope to see you guys tomorrow at 9 a.m. Cheers, guys. God bless. Happy trading and bye for now.